What's up, man? It's Grizzly FLG. You know I am. If you don't know who I am a music artist slash graphic designer slash whatever you know, all that good stuff. I'm doing this to start my new podcast series. So, if you've been following my sub channel, Coolin' with Caleb, I did podcast basically with some of my friends, and we called it Squad World Order. Hopefully, I could get back to doing that soon. But for right now, I just wanted to do this to start on something new, to get my basically not just to talk about what I want to talk about or wrestling or anything like that or music or anything, but to get some of my skills up, some of my speaking skills, some of presentation skills. So this podcast is going to be my first solo podcast. I did podcasts before. Obviously, I just said Squad World Order, but that was a group podcast with other people. Now this is a solo podcast. So I'm calling this Ring Talk, and with Ring Talk is going to be mostly wrestling orientated, talking about wrestling in general, what's going on in wrestling right now, what's some of my favorite wrestling moments, how did I get into wrestling, blah blah blah, all that stuff. So we're going to get into that later down the line, basically. So if you're listening to this on my YouTube channel, Coolin' with Caleb, please go like and subscribe to the channel, like this video if you liked it, all that good stuff. And it's all good, you know what I'm saying? So basically I'm gonna come up here and talk about three things. Try to make it short. I don't want to be up here for long, but I just want to touch on some things I've been seeing on not only TV, but I've been seeing on like Twitter, social media, everything. Everybody just giving their own opinions on social media and stuff. And I could give my opinions on social media, but it's so much that I could do. So I figured, hey, why not just start a podcast and talk about it. Before I get into it, I got some things that I want to project to y'all. In the past 2 or 3 weeks, I've released beat tapes. First tape I released is the Josie tape, and I dropped that around WrestleMania, April 5th, the second day, Sunday of WrestleMania. And it's a good tape. There was 11 tracks on there. I got features from Miyagi Taught Me, the bro Miyagi, and I got a feature beat from Travis Santana. Both basically the tape is like it says, it's a tribute to some Josie wrestlers and stuff like that. So the songs are, basically themed off of wrestlers. Some of these songs I sampled their actual themes. And some of these songs I actually sampled some like R&B or like what else? So like video game music or whatever, so that's the whole projective of that tape. You can get that on Bandcamp, listen to it on SoundCloud. I might be uploading it to somewhere else like Audio Mac, somewhere like that. The second tape that I did is called, The Vibes Part 1. This is a simple 3-track EP that I just wanted to do for fun. I was just sitting here and just wanted to produce. Like, I just produced these 3 beats. I think I produced those beats in less than 35-45 minutes. So it's nice. One, just beginning with a trap beat, then I think the other 2, just boom bap vibes on it, So YKTV Part 1, The Vibes Part 1. Both of them tapes are on my SoundCloud, the Bandcamp. You can download them for free on my Bandcamp. You can just click the buy now button, put the 0 up there. You probably have to put in your email address, and then, it'll send you an email link, and then you can download it. Just download it to your phone, your computer, your laptop, whatever, and bump it. You can also donate. I don't mind if you, give a little donation, like $5. Shout out to my boy Jen World, because every time I drop these tapes, he always gives me a $10 a $10 donation. And you really don't have to do that, but I appreciate it. That's the bro. That's the 757 bro. So, those 2 tapes are out now on my Bandcamp and SoundCloud. I am working on my next mixtape, which is Grizz the HBK2 Heel Tactics. I've been working on beats for that. So this is probably going to end up being a project that I produce like 80 to 85, 90% of it. I'll try not to use any industry beats. I already use like 1 or 2. And then, I probably got some beats from my other producers and stuff like that. But, it is what it is. I'm having fun putting it together right now. I'm really having fun putting it together. So, I'm working on that. Hopefully it will be out by at least August, around SummerSlam time. I like to usually drop these tapes at like a certain time during the season. Like I dropped Grizz the HBK during Royal Rumble season last year, like the day of Royal Rumble. And then I dropped Grizz Mania. I did a small EP, dropped that last year on WrestleMania Day. So as you can tell, I dropped the Josie tape this year on WrestleMania Day, and hopefully Grizz the HBK2 will be finished by August. I can drop that on like SummerSlam, if we even have SummerSlam. Well, I mean, we will have SummerSlam. It just, will be different, probably with no crowds this time, which is sad. I don't know if the restrictions will be up by then. I don't know if they'll have like a small crowd or anything, but yeah, it should be dropping by SummerSlam time. So, I got both beat tapes out now, the Josie tape and the Vibes Part 1 on my Bandcamp and my SoundCloud. And then just look out for Grizz HBK2 Heel Tactics coming soon. Should be everywhere. DatPiff, SoundCloud, Bandcamp. Might even upload it for streaming on Apple Music and Spotify, all that stuff. Hopefully we won't be sample heavy for the project, and then we can do it like that. But anyway, I just had like 3 topics I just wanted to talk about, and basically today is Monday, so I'm waiting, preparing for Monday Night Raw tonight. Got a triple threat match tonight. Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Asuka, contract signing tonight. Stuff is just gonna get heavy tonight. And before we get to that point, I just wanted to come up here and talk about 3 things that has been crazy, blowing up on Twitter. Well, not, actually like 2 of these things have been blowing up on Twitter, but 3 of these things I've seen perspectives of opinions on Twitter, and I just wanted to say my opinion on it. So I think the first topic we're going to talk about is Kairi Sane. So let's go back to December of last year. TLC had the Women's Tag Team Championship TLC match, right? Becky and Charlotte versus the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane. And it was a good match. It was a great match. It was, could have been better than what it was, but it was a great match. It was good. It was real good. Basically, what happened in that match was I think was the defining point for the rest of the reign for the Kabuki Warriors, with Kairi Sane getting concussed in the match. I think off of the barricade spot when Charlotte put her in that barricade, and then her head hit the I think the concrete under the padding. It was a little bit of concrete, so either that or she just like snapped her head, her neck back, and she was basically concussed from that point on. And then that match went on long, and I think Becky was basically helping Kairi through that match, and basically Charlotte wasn't helping Kairi's case at all. Gave her a spear, gave her a damn powerbomb through the table, and that's like the worst thing you could have happen if you have a concussion. I mean, I know Charlotte was probably trying to work safe, but I don't think I wouldn't be doing a powerbomb spot if I knew my opponent was concussed and shit, So the concussion happens. Asuka retained the titles, and then we go full blast into the Asuka and Becky situation, because I knew this was going to happen. There was planting seeds earlier on in that feud during Raw and stuff before they even got to TLC. So boom, WWE seen it as like the perfect opportunity. Hey, Kairi's injured. Let's put Asuka and Becky into this situation so we get it over with. Or I mean, basically it was just basically meant to go that way. People like to talk about, you know, how much the Kabuki Warriors reigned and how many matches that they defended the titles and stuff like that. I just feel like I don't really necessarily think it was the Kabuki Warriors. It was more so WWE. When you think about it, the tag team division is in shambles. The women's tag team division is in shambles. Because right now you only have Bliss Cross and Kabuki Warriors. Then who else you have? You know, you basically Fire and Desire is like broken up. Then you got the Iconics, who are off TV for some reason. I don't know where they are. You know, like they could be a viable tag team to defend, you know, to go up there and win the belts and defend them, or to fight for those belts for Bliss Cross. So, you know, other than that, you got thrown around teams. Like last week on SmackDown, you had Dana Brooke and Carmella and stuff like that. You know, I guess the NXT women are kind of getting into tag team matches. So I'm kind of seeing something right there. Like, what if basically this women's tag team goes to NXT and defend the titles like the Kabuki Warriors did for once and stuff like that. So I don't know what the women's tag team division is going to be like. I have no idea. Like none. No idea. So the tag team division is in samples. And like, you have, at least you have the belts being shown on TV in the spotlight, because Asuka has been basically the MVP of Raw for a good amount of time, and she's been showing those belts on Monday Night Raw when she's been having these big matches. Kairi Sane hasn't really been on TV that much as I would like to see her. I don't know what's the issue with that. I mean, you had the concussion, and then she recovered from the concussion, and then after that, basically she got married after that. Yeah, so she had the concussion, and then shortly after, you know, she was recovered, and then, you know, she appeared on TV. But then you had a period when she was going for like a week or two because she got married, and I think she had a honeymoon, and then, you know, came back and stuff like that. But they didn't have any women's tag team matches. And then you have the pandemic era right now with you know, this whole no crowds going on, and you know, whole guidelines and essential stuff going on. So, you know, you find in the arena with no crowds and stuff like that. And Asuka's been, I think she's been on the most shows since this whole format started, but we haven't really seen that much of Kairi Sane on these shows. And then WrestleMania comes around, and then, you know, they put on a good effort match at WrestleMania, and then they lose the belts with Kairi taking the pin. And then the following week on SmackDown, they also took another loss, and Kairi took that pin too. So, you know, fans started to get, you know, a little anxious, like, oh, we've seen the pattern here, you know, Kairi's losing. You know, is he about to be going? Because her contract is supposed to be up sometime soon. I don't know if it's very soon or what. You know, Stardom, it might be a landing place for her. It might go back home to Stardom. Might go to AEW. You know, it was one point in time where we thought that both Kairi and Io were going to go back home to Stardom, because Io wasn't probably still ain't happy at NXT being in Orlando, being so far away from Japan and stuff like that, barely getting paid as much as she did in Stardom, you know, which is kind of not surprising, but it's kind of like a to me, you know. I would figure like they would have got paid more, stuff like that, but we getting losses. And I guess, I don't know if it's because they want to protect Asuka, because Asuka's been like on fire these past TV episodes, like MVP of the year so far and stuff like that. Or I don't know if it's because they want to give her this type of punishment or deal since they figure that she's going to be out the door. I don't know what's going on. I always felt like, Kairi should be presented more on television because of her skill, because of her. I mean, basically, that's how she got here to WWE, because of her skill. Like, she's a fucking fantastic wrestler. Like, we've seen glimpses of that in NXT. Not even glimpses. We just basically seen that in NXT. Like, former Mae Young Classic winner, inaugural Mae Young Classic winner, may I add, won the NXT Women's Championship, took it off of Shayna Baszler, who was like basically undefeatable, unbeatable, stuff like that. Former Women's Tag Team Champion. She has great skill. I don't know if the heel thing works out for her. I think always, Kairi works out better as a face, but as a heel, she seems like she's having fun, but she's not really winning matches in WWE so far. So these past 2 weeks, she's been fighting Nia Jax, and last week and the week before that, she lost both matches, obviously. And basically, we had these matches, and Asuka's in the back, not at ringside, cheering for her, which makes you kind of think, like, are they doing this because they want to develop a story for the Kabuki Warriors, or whatever? I don't know, because usually when somebody comes out, they'll have their manager or whatever, like, Zelina Vega is a prime example. Like, with her 3 that she's managing, she's always out there, or somebody from their squad is always out there. But in like a Kairi Sane and Asuka versus, like, Asuka's out there and Kairi Sane isn't around or anything like that, or Asuka is in the back cheering on Kairi while Kairi is out there in the ring, and it kind of makes you think, like, what are they trying to do with this? I feel like they might make it a story, and they might try to break up the Kabuki Warriors, which I don't want to see happening, but it seems like it. But Kairi taking these losses is kind of pose a big issue. Like, is WWE trying to tell us something, and they trying to do a storyline, or is they trying to, like, get Kairi out of here? Because it kind of don't make sense. You got this high caliber of a wrestler losing, and then whatever. I don't know if they're trying to build up Nia Jax for Money in the Bank. Maybe that's the case. Maybe they seen Kairi Sane as a viable opponent to do that. But at the same time, I feel like you could have got like a squash opponent for Nia Jax to come in here and do that, So I don't know. It's a toss up to see where they're going to do with her. I don't know if she's going to go out the door. I don't know if they're going to have her and Asuka turn on each other. And if that happens, maybe it'll happen after Money in the Bank. Maybe Asuka wins the briefcase and wins the title, and then Kairi turns on her and fights her for the title. I don't know. Something has to happen along the line to explain these losses, because if Kairi's just taking losses like these, I don't understand. I don't understand why you got her taking these losses and shit like that. So let's piggyback on to this situation, like I said, with Nia Jax. Like I was saying, Kairi Sane fought Nia Jax for this past 2 weeks, and both of them been losses. Both of them is squashes. Nia Jax coming out looking like a beast and stuff like that. But last week is what really got people talking. Now, if you look at Nia Jax's Twitter, she's been talking about this whole Ronda Rousey thing ever since she's been out. Ronda Rousey made comments about fake fans and stuff in the wrestling and shit like that. And like, Nia has been, talking about punching her and knocking her out, being the first to knock her out and stuff like that. I mean, hey, I've seen Nia Jax knock out a person before, and you see what happened to Becky Lynch. You see, became a fucking superstar off of that, but that was hard to watch too. So Nia Jax is back from double ACL surgery and recovery that she had to do for a full year, and then she comes back in, squash match, wins the match. Had her first squash match with Kairi Sane and won that match as well. But then last week she had another one with Kairi Sane, and there was this spot that got everybody talking. So she had Kairi Sane held up in the air, and she was going to the corner turnbuckle, walks over there, and then just throws Kairi Sane into the turnbuckle. And the way Kairi Sane landed in that turnbuckle was it was tough. It was crazy. It was wow. So people ran with it. I feel like people just took that and ran with it and was like, oh, Nia Jax should be down in NXT, or get Nia Jax out the ring. She's an unsafe worker, or Nia Jax shouldn't be wrestling. She sucks, blah blah blah, and shit like that. People just took that spot and ran with it. People even said that Kairi said something along the lines of "I'm not set," which basically she didn't say. I didn't hear anything along the lines of that. People on Twitter just make shit up all the time. And the way I feel about Nia Jax, Nia has so much power. I mean, look, she's a big person. Like she's big, and like she has so much power that maybe it's hard for her to control that power. And if that's something that needs to be addressed, then let that be addressed. Want to come on around, in like a group and be like, hey, we have to present this to blah 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 and blah blah blah, and be like, hey, you feel like we should have Nia Jax do something else? Like they should have Nia Jax work on this area and improve, or they should have Nia Jax, study something and tone it down or something like that. Basically, I just feel like Nia Jax needs to train more and just change. I don't feel like she needs to just stop wrestling, or I don't feel like she needs to just go back to NXT, because I feel like NXT is a lost cause at this point for her. She already been to NXT, she still had all the training that she had down there, and then you come up to the main roster and stuff. And I mean, people go back to NXT. I mean, look who they have now. Yeah, Tyler Breeze and Finn Balor and stuff like that. I mean, people go back to NXT for reasons, but going to NXT just to go back and restart and rework on some things. This doesn't sound like a bad idea, but I don't know at this time. I swear they can't do it at this time, because now they have Nia locked in for Money in the Bank. So, Nia Jax isn't doing this on purpose. Nia Jax is working on purpose, but she isn't trying to go out there and hurt people on purpose, is my belief. Because after that, she got on Twitter and like, oh, since Kairi Sane can't do it, then maybe somebody like Ronda Rousey can do it, blah blah blah, stuff like that. And that's what people got riled up. Like, people really got mad and stuff like that. I just feel like she's working. She knows how to work people, but her wrestling, is crazy. It's something she should improve on. Basically, I feel like if she is improved on that, then there'll be less and less people talking about the situations that she put these wrestlers through. The Becky Lynch situation, and then now we got Kairi Sane being thrown to the turnbuckle looking like her head is fucking snapped back, and another concussion. And it made it worse. That's what makes it worse, because Kairi Sane just now coming off this concussion she had 3 months ago, and doing the spot like that makes Nia Jax look bad. I just feel like Nia just needs to get better. The fans overreact sometimes. Not even sometimes, most of the time. The fans overreact. Like, I've seen people on Twitter just react. I've seen people on Twitter just be like, Nia Jax is a bad person. I see people on Twitter be like, Nia Jax is a terrible wrestler. I see people on Twitter be like, well, she's The Rock's cousin, why she's wrestling like that, blah blah blah. I've seen people on Twitter actually vote for her as being the worst wrestler out of 2 people. It was her, and it was Yoshiko. If you don't know who Yoshiko is, you should look up the Stardom incident, and then that will tell you everything from there. If you want to look at Yoshiko's wrestling history after that, that's fine on you. But even I would vote, for Yoshiko and Nia Jax ended up winning the poll. And I'm just like, well, first off, what Yoshiko did was personal, and she actually did that on purpose, out of spite and out of jealousy. Nia Jax isn't out here throwing these girls around out of spite and out of jealousy. She didn't intend to do that on purpose, just a turnbuckle spot. She's not out here hurting girls on purpose, and people like that. It's just she needs to learn how to control her strengths and wrestle better and stuff like that. And it's just crazy, all this shit that I've been seeing about Nia Jax. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that she's one of my favorites, but I like watching Nia Jax from time to time. I mean, there's nobody else in WWE like her size and her strength. Although I always have to watch Nia Jax, because my favorite wrestler wrestled Nia Jax back in NXT, who was Asuka, and they had battles, especially at the end, where I really thought Asuka was going to lose that belt, but she came out victorious, still held the belt. And watching from Nia from that time up to Raw, yeah, you could say she improved, but she still have areas that she needs to work on. So basically, that's my final verdict with that Nia Jax situation. Third and last topic. I was at work for this topic, and then I was just chilling at work, pulling the 12 hours. And then I get on Twitter, and then I see the Velveteen Dream just trending. I'm like, okay, well, why is Velveteen Dream trending? Like, okay, and it says Velveteen Dream accused of sending pics to minors. And I'm just like, oh god, not this. I just didn't want to see that. I didn't want to believe it. I don't want to believe it. This seems like a thing where we're gonna have to wait for actual police information to find out. I think they filed a report, or somebody from Dream or whatever filed a report like WWE or said something like that. Of course, Dream goes on Twitter saying, be assured I haven't sent pics to nobody. I have a third party working on this matter. We don't know if he said that himself or WWE told him to go up there and say that himself, but hey, whoever was up there uploading the pictures of the conversation, they sent not even screenshots, but they actually sent screen captures of the Instagram conversations of what they and Dream was talking about. Then there was one where there was actual pic in there. Then there was one pic where he asked how old are they, and then they say it was 16. And I just feel like I hope this isn't a situation where this is true, or I hope this isn't a situation where Dream is actually getting set up by somebody, by some crazy fan. And now I know why some wrestlers have their DMs on private or closed, because hey, you're a superstar, you can't really be getting into any trouble, any degree of trouble like this, because if this happens, then it's over for your career, basically. This is serious. This reminds me, I was talking to my homeboy Thado the other day. This reminds me of the Enzo situation. Remember when Enzo had his situation with this girl, and she said she came forward saying that Enzo did whatever to her and stuff like that. And then the police, Arizona police, I think it was Phoenix, whatever, they were involved in it, but it was ruled that the girl was lying about the situation and making up. She basically fabricated the situation. But what made it worse for Enzo was he didn't tell WWE about it, and he didn't tell WWE that the police were being involved in the situation. So that's what got him fired from WWE. That's what got him out of there. I think this is kind of similar, but it's kind of different. It's similar because there's somebody coming out with these accusations against Dream, just like somebody had accusations against Enzo. But it's different because this was before I think police action is taken, or WWE caught wind of it quick and was like, okay, do this, do that, or just be silent say whatever you feel like you have to say, and then be silent. Say that you feel like you didn't send pics in this situation, this isn't you, blah blah blah, and stuff like that. So that's why I don't know, man. I just hope that whatever happens, I haven't heard anything. That's the thing, I haven't heard anything recent since these accusations came out. Maybe I have to look it up again. Maybe I have to see what's going on. But other than that, I just hope this isn't true. Velveteen Dream is a dope ass wrestler, very very high potential wrestler. He got the charisma, he got everything he needs to take it all in WWE, especially trying to get that NXT championship. So hopefully this isn't a situation where this is an actual thing, and his, because if it is, his career is down. Final notes, like I just said not too long ago, my beat tapes are out right now on Bandcamp and SoundCloud, and then I have Greatest HBK 2 Heel Tactics coming out soon. I might just end up releasing a new single from the project this week. I just don't know what it is. I don't know if I have to work on a new song. I don't know if it's already a song that I have already recorded, but it's a new song that's coming out, ladies and gentlemen. This one is going to be on streaming sites this time. I think the last two that I did were on SoundCloud only. And I'm like, nah, I got to start getting this promo out. So yeah, I got those coming out soon. So I guess the deal with this podcast, I'll probably be coming up here every week, every weekend that I have off, every 2 weeks. I don't know. We'll see. And then I'll be bringing guests on this podcast as well. Like some of my producer friends, some of my friends that are in the wrestling. We'll talk about like different things. It's not just going to be about what's happening in the week. It's going to be about wrestling, some wrestling stories, how I got into wrestling, who was my favorite wrestler, debates, stuff like that. So this podcast isn't just going to be about topics throughout the week. I just want to come up here and talk about those topics because those topics seem to be what everybody's been talking about on Twitter right now. Well, not right now. I mean, during the week last week, but it's still going to be talked about right now. Everybody's still talking about Nia Jax right now being unsafe and stuff like that. So, like this channel, subscribe. I said like this channel. Subscribe to this channel and like this video. I got more content on this channel coming soon. If you're watching this on YouTube, I got more content coming soon. Might start doing reviews, like sneaker reviews, action figure reviews once I get them in. I'll put this on SoundCloud and I'll get this out to streaming sites wherever you listen to podcasts during the next few days. So if you listen to this whole thing, I appreciate you. Thank you for listening to this. I'm trying to, like I said in the beginning, try to get my skills up, speaking skills. I wasn't never a good speaker, but I always a good ass rapper. I don't know why, but I was never a good speaker growing up, like especially public speaking. I wouldn't mind reading in class. I wouldn't mind doing that, but as far as like speaking in front of a group or in front of a class, I was never good at it. So I'm trying to basically do this to recorrect that and get my opinions on wrestling the way I see it. You know what I'm saying? So basically, this is like a trial podcast for me. Episode 1, of course, I had to work on some things, and each podcast will be better and better and better, I promise. So soundcloud.com/grizzlyfog, grizzlyfog.bandcamp.com/music, or basically that also all my music up there. I think I said that right. I think I said the URL well. If it's not that, it's just grizzlyfog.bandcamp.com. Twitter is @grizzlyfog, YouTube channel grizzlyfog, and then you have Kunlu and Caleb, and then you can add me anywhere else. Instagram at Grizzly Ray, Snapchat is Grizzly FOG Astro. I'm on Xbox Live, Grizzly FOG VA, and PSN Skull Reaper Grizz. And so, just hit me up on there. We talk wrestling, games, stuff like that. Anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's all good and gravy. I just wanted to come up here and talk about these 3 topics. Like I said, again, if you listen to the whole thing, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You didn't have to take that time out of your day to listen to this. But we're going to keep improving on these podcasts, and we're going to work on these podcasts. So thank you all for listening to this. It's your boy Grizzly FOG coming live from the 757 Virginia. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Peace.